to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell. It is episode number 323. Joined by three great guys this week. Cereal Box is here.
What's up, guys?
Chira is here as well.
Hey.
And this week we have a special guest. I was going to say, do you care if I say your first name? I don't know. I don't know.
Fine.
All right, but Brent Tallansty is here.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
A.K.A. Tallansty. You may recognize him from two of the Champion Select podcasts. If you are a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/T-Force Network. He has come on for Nidalee and Elise. Did I get that right?
That's correct, yeah.
All right, cool. Yes, if you guys want to check those out, go to patreon.com/T-Force Network and sign up for $10 a month. You'll hear Tallansty's sweet, succulent voice. He is a Diamond to Master level player, depending on the day, I would say. And he has quite a bit of information. We wanted to bring him on because he's a longtime listener of the Trinity Force podcast, dating back to when Ranhert and Auslander are on, right?
Yep. Support Ranhert days.
Episode 1. That's
yeah.
a while
and
ago.
Optimus Tom, yeah.
Yeah, Optimus Tom. There you go. About episode, I think, 25 or something. So Tom, come on. Yeah, so he's been around for a while, and we want to, keep supporting him and everything he's doing, bring him on. He'll probably come on for a couple episodes here and there. I'm sure he's kind of like one of those guys where he's going to be a reoccurring guest as we need slots to fill, and he's happy to do that.
Yeah, long-time fan. This is pretty cool to be on here, guys, with you.
So we're going to talk about that, guys. If you want to support the Trinity Force podcast, we are brought to you by GameFly, www.gameflyoffer.com/TFN. You have to use the www or it doesn't work for some odd reason. At least in Chrome it doesn't. It might work in like Safari or something else. But gameflyoffer.com/TFN. You can go up there, sign up for $15 a month. The first 30 days are free if you use our offer code. You can go get all those brand spanking new games. Like if you listen to Lane Podcast on Monday and you're like, man, these guys play all these awesome MOBAs. I really want to get into playing some, professional Call of Duty or something. Well, you can dip your toe in by grabbing the GameFly free 30-day offer. Grab 2 games for yourself, play them, sign up for $15 a month using our offer code, and you will jump right in there. So that's that. We're going to jump right into PBE discussion because we have a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A lot.
Are we ready to talk about Runeglaive right away? Or the new Runic Echoes?
That affects me.
There were a lot of tears. There were so many tears before the episode, so it seems like it's a good memorial thing to start off with.
That's true. That's very true.
Yes. So what we are doing is we are using the surrenderat20.net PBE notes to talk about some of the potential PBE changes coming out in 6.1. Start of the new season likely will come with this patch as well. And when the patch does roll around, we will actually talk about the patch and anything we missed, since I don't think we're going to get through them. Likely we won't go in and touch the small changes, balance changes, but if we have time, we'll make it to it. So let's start at the top. Runic Echoes. If you guys have you been living under a rock during the PBE cycle, Runeglaive is being removed from the game, the enchantment. Gone, see ya, bye. Instead, it's being replaced by a new jungle enchantment called Runic Echoes. It gives 10% movement speed, and it has a unique passive called Echo. Gain charges upon moving or casting. At 100 charges, the next spell hit expends all charges to deal 80 plus 10% of ability power bonus magic damage to up to 4 targets on hit. This effect deals 250% damage to large monsters. Hitting large monsters with this effect will restore 18% of your missing mana. And it builds out of Aether Wisp, a Amplifying Tome, and your jungle item that you have in your slot.
Smite item is, yeah.
Yeah. So this was this a smite item or was the jungle items the smite items? I can't remember what DeClaude called them.
Smite items were the like Stalker's Blade and stuff.
Yeah, that's the intermediary item. I like to call this the Baby Luden's Echo. That's what I've been calling it. It does it has the same ratio, but it has less base damage for that proc and obviously less AP. The big changes is going to hurt AP junglers that like to auto attack a lot, and that would be like Evelyn and Elise to an extent, but it'll be a huge buff to AP mages in the jungle that don't all auto attack like Fiddlesticks and some of the other ones like that. And they got rid of the CDR on it, so that's kind of a nerf too to ones that like the CDR more than necessarily the occasional proc. Although it does have more AP.
And the move speed on it's nice too.
Yeah, the move speed's on it really good for chasing on some of those champions. So in some ways it'll hurt. We've yet to see obviously how it plays out. I've tried it in exactly one game now, and it doesn't feel that bad on Elise, which was the main one I was worried about.
Right.
I'm sure it'll be kind of a buff to Nidalee late game because you kind of love the AoE long range proc and an extra ratio on your spears when you do land them late game, and you don't really care about because you don't get as many auto attacks off late game. The Ringrave, Spellblade procs and whatnot.
What is there a problem here with the? How much does it cost for it?
I don't see that they changed the cost.
So it'd be $850 plus $435.
It's
So
$26.25 total.
$26.25 total. So that'd be less than Warrior because Warrior is $15.75 total to buy. I was trying to think if there was a problem here with how much it cost in comparison to the other jungle items, because one of our complaints a while ago with some of those jungle items is that they cost too much, and there was too much risk reward with some of the junglers to be able to purchase the items quickly enough, and that's why that made other junglers that could either power farm or power gank and farm at the same time. You know, the people that you really wanted there, the hybrid ones that made them better. And so, taking this back to one of the big complaints I always saw was that once they added Runeglaive to the game, that removed a lot of those AP junglers that you would play or remove their power, such as if you wanted to play a Mumu AP, he lost a lot of power through the extra life he had or the cooldown reduction. He lost a lot of power through not having that flat raw ability power that he got, and this kind of puts him back up on that that one tier.
Well, and the move speed helps him out a lot too, which is going to be really nice. My biggest gripe with the removal of the Runeglaive is just I wish they would have kept both of these in the game. Like I much would have rather had the choice to be like, okay, I'm playing Elise. I actually like Spellblade procs off a Q and being able to do a ton of burst damage really, really quickly, and then follow that up immediately with another one after the cooldown came back up. Plus the CDR was beautiful on her. Like I think that's something I'm going to miss. I probably won't notice it right off the bat, but I mean, for champions like Fiddlesticks, who've kind of been a little out of it, maybe this might improve things a bit. But even still, that was a jungle champion that didn't even really require a big jungle item anyway. He could roll right into you could roll right into normal items.
Well, with Runeglaive, all the Fiddlesticks players I know just skipped it. They got the smite upgrade and they just left it at that until late game where they sold the smite upgrade altogether. You just go straight into Zanyas or whatnot.
Yeah, I wonder why they're just like you're saying. Why not just have both? Like,
give us the option at least.
It seems like a lot of the early changes, like for preseason, and then what we're seeing now is trying to make a lot more people viable, and they keep making like a certain niche of the mage junglers always viable, but taking it away from the other ones whenever they do it.
Yeah,
and I don't understand why. I don't understand why they keep doing that when they could. Like I understand that they're trying to get a tank one, an AD, an attack speed, and a mage, but it's not like having two mage ones is going to buff somebody super hard. Like why? What is it going to do that's going to like put somebody? I'm going to buy both. That's totally a thing you can do.
And even still, let's say
you can't.
You can't do that.
Let's say Runeglaive was still bought on 90% of all of the mage junglers. Runic Echoes is still going to be better on other mage junglers. So like that 10%, it would still be the better item for. So people that are playing that champion, at least they can play it now.
Yeah. I don't know why junglers are always pigeonholed, because you always, like you said, you only have 4 choices and that's it. Why not have 2 AP, 2 AD for maybe casters and auto attackers, and then 1 attack speed and so on and so forth. I don't know why, but yeah, they had a spell vamp jungle item, then they had the Runeglaive, now they have a Luden's Echo, copy version.
Right.
Yeah, auto attack to AoE, which is is it Magus? Didn't that have 20% CDR too? Which I think was one of the main reasons that was kind of dumb.
and it had spell vamp, and then they changed, and then maybe it was just, maybe I'm going back even to season 2, but then they changed it from spell vamp, like flat spell vamp, into spell vamp only off of jungle monsters, because like Vlad was buying it in top lane and stuff.
Yeah, that's
But,
what
yeah.
it became such an issue when you were running into AP mid laners that would just pick it up because it was the de facto most cost efficient thing on anybody who could buy it.
Well, I mean, even the same could be said about Juggernaut when they put that in the game, and they got rid of the ancient golem, which gave the tenacity and HP. Then they made it to the fire, the Sunfire Cape one that gives HP. Why not keep both? I mean, why not give more options in jungle? I guess it's a little bit harder to balance. This one, I think it really hurts some of those junglers, but it definitely helps some of the other ones. I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but it doesn't stack with the actual Luden's Echo.
I was looking at something real quick, and maybe one thing is that you don't get a whole lot from Runeglaive until you have it built, until you've actually built it. Like the parts don't really add up to much, and at least with the sheen, Aether Wisp, the sheen's okay, but like you're not getting like a very, like I don't think you're getting that much out of it early on an AP champion. Too much.
Well, you're not
dependent on the AP champion as well.
And
but
like,
I think
Maokai nice though.
Yeah, but
with Maokai, with people like him, he'd run Cinderhulk, right? But let's say you run full. He has one of the highest base ADs, if not the highest base AD in the game. So that he's,
I think level 1 is the highest.
Yeah, he's smacking like a truck with the Runeglaive or the Sheen. And Sheen's a pretty big power spike for anybody to pick up for 1,200 gold at any point in time.
My point is more that like while you get the Sheen off, but you're missing the 30% AP scaling you get off the Sheen proc when you upgrade it to Runeglaive. Whereas you actually have something, I think like Aether Wisp helps you a lot more. Like just as a much smaller piece. Like I think it's more effective for much, like you can get it way earlier. I think it's good. For some junglers, but I like
Lisa's
no, but I
ratio
mean
is
like
crap,
the early, like you have to go back pretty early. You can't get the Sheen. But now you have something like smaller that you're able to pick up that is still pretty effective.
Well, you can get the Sheen or the book, because there's a Sheen book and the Smitem for the Runeglaive.
Yeah, you could start Amp to him.
I really need to see them adding some kind of cooldown reduction. I mean, this item's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people are going to use it, but the jungle really does need that AP with a little bit of cooldown reduction, because
the CDR helps so much. It especially when you're playing a champion that's utilizing abilities to clear something anyway, any amount of CDR early, especially on a base item that you want to buy, makes life so much easier.
They're giving CDR already to Warrior, for example. Let's see, you pick up Caulfield's Warhammer 10% CDR with AD on it. That's more impactful. I mean, there's an argument to be made that move speed is more impactful, but CDR and attack damage is generally more impactful than a little bit of ability power and move speed. The champions are going to get more out of it to clear the jungle more quickly.
The problem would be is if you gave this item as is CDR, it'd be better than regular Luden's Echo, because it'd have it'd have less AP, but it'd have CDR. Not as much AP, but yeah.
For the sacrifice of taking Smite, but
I mean, at the same time, you could also just argue then you'd strip 15 to 20 ability power off it, and it would bring things in line a little bit as well. And honestly, I would trade that for the CDR.
Yeah, I would too. If this went down to 45 AP with 10% CDR, for example, I think the item would be much more appealing to everybody.
It'd be such a well-rounded AP item at that point. And even going back to Runeglaive, Runeglaive doesn't have that great of scaling on, like 30% scaling on AP. That's whatever, but it didn't matter because like it procced a lot. It procced all the time.
It procced a lot on the champions that liked it.
Yeah, I mean, Elise, you could pop your entire combo and get 2 procs off within the length of one little skirmish, which was amazing because that was all the time you needed for the most part to remove a really high impact target, a really squishy target, which was great. And now you're not going to have as much of that trade potential. You're going to want to sit way, way farther back. I don't.
You do have more initial burst, like the initial proc, and assuming you're going to come to lane with it during a gank with 100 stacks, and you're going to get that proc. It does have a lot more upfront burst, so it might help a little bit in some ways. But we can go through all the AP junglers and kind of maybe
there's not that many, right?
Yeah,
there aren't very many.
I'm trying to think. Diana probably benefits a little bit more off Runeglaive, but even this might be better late game though because it,
because it makes her initial burst so nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but then
at
it
the same
delays
time,
her because she's going to eventually want the Lichbane, and having Broomglaive gave her the Lichbane essentially.
Yeah, she couldn't build both, or they kind of were
you
redundant.
can't build both. But
I
at
think
the
you
same
would
time,
get the higher proc, but yeah.
you could just say, "Hey, screw it! I want to go Spellblade," and then get a Luden's Echo on top of it. So this removes that ability at all.
Well, okay, so with a lot of the AP junglers, though, aren't they going item, smite, or smite enchantment? We'll call it enchantment. Sorry, they're going enchantment. Whatever that enchantment is, I don't give a fuck. They're going tier 2 boots, and then they are going Zhonya's Hourglass. More than likely, unless they're ahead, then it's something like Abyssal Scepter or Luden's Echo right now.
It depends. Nidalee likes Roa. Elise likes Rylai's.
Rylai's so good on her.
Jungle item all the way upgraded. Fiddlesticks like Zhonya's right away. Diana probably like Zhonya's right away or Abyssal, depending on the comp.
I mean, so there is some variability or whatever. There's some you build ability. I'm just trying to.
Are we going to see
variance? Are we going to see builds?
Runic Echoes Karthus come out of nowhere and launch sweet ults for bonus damage?
Can he survive this jungle right now?
I used to play way back in the day, but I don't know. It'd be rough.
If you were starting red side, can you survive? I guess you would have to.
You just wouldn't start red side.
Yeah, you start blue.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that would ever happen, but I'm going to try it as soon as this item rolls in.
Sure.
Go do it now. Do it now on PBE.
Yeah, go out
right now. Leave the podcast. Go
now.
try it out. Pop back on, and we'll cover it.
Well, okay. What other AP junglers do you think of? There's a Mumu, Sejuani, both generally Cinderhulk. Probably a better buy even with it. Am I missing? I don't have League of Legends in front of me right now. Actually, I do. Sorry for the YouTube viewers. I just put the. I'm actually gonna pull the champion list right now.
Are we just gonna throw?
Cho'Gath, not really a big deal.
You're
Elise.
probably not buying this
Fizz?
on Cho. You maybe Nautilus? No, like
no.
Nunu?
Gragas?
Everyone's
just kind of like
Cinderhulk. It's you went Cinderhulk, and he likes the spell proc a lot more than this, in my opinion, because he has a lot of low cooldowns.
Sure.
Right.
And the percentage of life damage off W.
See, guys, this is the amount of preparation we put into episodes. You can see right here. Right here.
Hey,
Don't call it out.
I said buff to Fiddlesticks. Not sure yet about Nidalee. Probably a buff.
And then Zach still wants Cinderhulk, so.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, I'm looking through all the junglers, and all the ones that, although they are AP junglers, almost always win Cinderhulk, like Gragas, Zach, and so on.
Nautilus.
You can talk about some of these other junglers, but I mean, you could jungle anyone, but if it's not really going to work, it's not really work. It's a buff to my jungle Heimerdinger, but
That's true.
It's a buff to Mumu. It's a buff to Mumu. It's a buff to Nidalee.
it really helps out Fiddlesticks a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
Because right now he had nothing he wanted to buy. Fiddlesticks never wants to be auto attacking unless he absolutely has to.
And everyone really wants Fiddlesticks back in the game, because who doesn't love seeing Fiddlesticks on the team and have to ward every single wall and be pissed off for the whole game because you're waiting on the ult to come through.
Rito gave me a skin for being a good boy for Christmas, and I got Bandito Fiddlesticks, so of course I want Fiddlesticks to come back.
All right.
Surprise points back.
The only other one that we didn't mention as well is Kale.
Yeah, but she likes Devourer anyway. I thought about
true.
that, but
but Spellblade Kale was fun every once in a while. Like it's not
not
that it's nearly as good as Devourer.
Like, yeah, Devourer and then Lichbane later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm gonna switch gears here because we talked about this. Bao Bao is in the chat. He's our resident awesome Pylo player that plays.
We love
with
our
everybody.
Bao Bao.
We were talking a while ago, and I even brought it up in the podcast where I said they were talking about keystones, and they said in a recent Riot post, our first steps will be to flesh out the tier 1 and tier 2 keystones, and then consider additional tier 3 keystones. So any 1-point wonder is a keystone mastery.
Yep.
I heard Bao say that, and I had brought it up on a podcast a while ago, and you all called me crazy, and I went,
"Oh,
really? This is what you're gonna use?"
Yeah, that's the whole reason
I was
brought it
right,
up.
guys, on a really unimportant topic.
No, I wasn't right. Bao was right. I didn't come up.
Bao's always right though.
He's right a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, and people asked, did they give out the good boy skins? I got a good boy skin. It said Rito gifted you a mystery gift. Congratulations. Did no one else get the good boy
I got
skin?
some. I forget what I got.
I think I got a Teemo skin. I'm not even kidding.
So, oh wait, they're
this?
gifting you toxic champions then. This is awful.
Dude, I swear to God, I
Teemo
came
and
back from
Fiddlesticks?
Christmas. I came back from like Christmas break or something.
I'm logging on right now
Rito,
and seeing if I can find it. Like I probably can figure out which one it was.
Great conversation, guys.
Dude, there's so much more PBE. Why? There's so many more things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
got-
They did a bunch of changes to the
Right.
some of the keystones.
I
too.
want to talk about Frost Queen's claim before we get jump into the Keystones, because that's
a
another
big
item
one.
that needs to be talked about. Base mana regeneration lowered to 100% from 150%. Active slow duration now scales from 2 to 5 seconds based on how far the ghosts have traveled from 4 seconds. Or from 4 seconds. So
So
That's
basically,
gigantic and important.
I was gonna say, so basically, it slows less duration when it's used on enemies that are closer, and the edge cases it might slow them a little bit more, and it gives less mana regen.
still a great
Yeah.
item, though, with that passive gold per 5 that you're
Yeah,
getting out of it as a mid laner. Though that I did scream 100 billion times about how slow you were if you were ever touched by that ghost. And then it
There was
chained on
no-
top of each other.
anytime I see support items being bought in the mid lane and top lane, it kind of pisses me off.
Well, yeah,
But-
I think that's smart because let's say I'm thinking of like 5 seconds to get an immediate slow. Or sorry, 4 seconds was the original one. If you're like somebody who has it on mid lane, and you can jump on somebody and immediately apply a 4 second slow, like if you're in a dueling kind of thing, that's a stupidly long slow to just be able to get
forever.
like that. Whereas 2
Way long.
seconds makes sense. Like you're getting the benefit of finding somebody far away, which is what the vision part of it's used for, and what they really wanted it for when vision went away, anyways. So they're trying to help people who use it for the vision, not so much for the I'm going to use this to be effective in trades and get a lot out of it.
I mean,
still
it was
buying
used
the
for
item.
picks. People used it for picks. Yeah, I mean, it's still
Cheers alive.
My chair just exploded.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, it's picks, and it's a great scouting tool as well. I mean, you're scouting with it, and they were slowed for that 4 seconds, which is so long you had time to make it to them and pick them out, even if they were the additional 2 seconds away.
Well, one of the Rioter, Medler, made a comment on it. He said, "Our current thought is that it's a fine option for mid laners, provided it is crowding out other items. We're also seeing it be more dominant than it should be on dual laners, so the intent is to nerf the mana regen and change the slow duration. Worse point blank and slightly better at really long ranges."
I still think that item's too good. I still think giving any mid laner an additional CC, if they even don't have one in their kit, it can make up for too many weaknesses that they may not have. To be able to catch up or to be able
It's
to.
it's
help out
definitely
with
very gold efficient for what it gives, but it might not be slot efficient for like a mid laner late game.
You got rid of so much of the mana regen, though. You're removing
50% mana regen
a
isn't
third.
a whole ton.
Yeah, but you're getting rid of like a third of what it was. Like you're getting rid of that much. I think that's kind of eliminate. It's getting rid of the part they don't like, which is the mid laners abusing it a little bit more than they might
Buying that
normally.
is only buy this item,
whereas-
you never run out of mana. Like
Yeah.
might have
Whereas
to get a little bit
supports don't run out of mana that much because they're not trying to trade constantly. If you have unlimited mana in mid lane and you can keep doing all that much more damage with your mana, so you get more efficiency out of it. I think that's a smart nerf because you're not like you lose the extra damage. Oh no, never mind. Frostman's claim you don't lose the damage once you kill minions. That changes after you get off of Frostfang.
And you weren't really using it for that extra. I mean, it's the gold per 10. You buy it early for the gold per 10 and the gold per 10 and mana regeneration, I want to say it's on it. Or is it, it got like, it's only got 5 ability power at first rank.
Yeah.
Is 5? I thought it was like 10.
It's 5. Doran's Blade's 15, so it's this Frost Queen's claim is only 5 because they were trying to make it, or not Frost Queen's, whatever it's called.
Frostfang.
Frostfang. No, Frostfang's tier 2.
I don't know what you're saying then.
Spell thieves.
Spell thieves.
There you go.
Yeah, spell thieves. Spell thieves edge. Go to wiki. Yeah, it's 5 ability
25%.
power, 25%
Okay,
base mana generation.
Yeah. So I like the change. I wonder if it's still going to get picked up because like I know it was half vision, half efficiency. I wonder if the vision will still be like the change of vision will still make it a worthwhile item because there's not a whole lot of items that give you vision, really, like that take up a slot and are good for you to have.
I can't think of any other item that I'd really want to rush or take though, because it's got a better upgrade path than Doran's because Doran's has no upgrade path. It's giving you mana regeneration. I mean, at rank 2, you have 100% mana regeneration with Frostfang, plus you have an additional gold per 10 by having this item in your slot. And then at rank 3, you have a 2-second slow in your inventory, and it's still cost efficient to purchase. It's not really like, I can't think of any other thing that I'm going to rush that's going to give me an additional layer of CC at any point in time. That's where I keep falling back to, is I get that additional layer of CC for any mid laner that I'm playing that is AP.
Well, weren't you? I'm trying to think of the not old Frost Queens, but the difference between it was not just that you're getting the CC, because you had the CC if you built Frost Queens regardless. But it used that area of effect one.
Yeah.
And you don't get any vision from that. Like, I think that's the main difference. It's not that.
And it was easy.
Yeah, you still have CC, and it's way easier to hit. Obviously, Spooky Ghost is so easy to hit because you just hit the button and it goes towards them. You cannot possibly mess it up unless you just don't click the button. So. Whereas old Frost Queens was a little bit more difficult to hit, and I don't think it did.
It was pretty worthless by the time you got to it, because being at that range, you already had your slow. It's giving you that slow to get your engage going, and like they're saying in chat, it's until they buff Athenes and Morellos to make it be a little bit more cost effective, or to give it a little more mana regen or damage or whatever it may be. People are going to still buy Spell Thieves.
Although now it has the same mana regen as Morellos. Only costs 300 more and has 30 less ability power and 10 less CDR, and you're trading Spooky Ghosts for the Grievous Wounds,
which is worse now.
Is worthless. Yeah,
it's way worse now. No. I
can't see any reason that mid laners want to continue to build this item as long as until they change Grievous Wounds.
I think they're on the right path though, because that's how you make an item like that not usable by the laners. Is you give it more utility. And that's kind of what they did. They made it less effective in 1v1. I'm going to mow you down and whack on you. But they made it more effective for scouting and getting a 6-second slow so you can get a pick, maybe.
I agree with that. They are on the right path to making this item a little less appealing in mid lane. We didn't talk about this. We were talking about jungle items. Stalker's Blade on the PBE right now. Stalker Blade, Tracker Knights, and Skirmisher Saber all have their mana regeneration increased to 180% from 150%. And the total cost has been reduced to 1,000 from 1,050. Do we see anything big coming out of getting an additional 20% mana regeneration at the early stages?
Really. I think that it's kind of nice that 50 gold doesn't seem like a lot, but there'd be a lot of times I'd back and I wouldn't be able to get that. I'd have my machete or the talisman, and I wouldn't be able to get the combine. So that's a little helpful. I noticed that sometimes you had to do an extra camp than you did in previous jungle patches with these jungle items. So that's a little helpful. I mean, smite upgrades are cheaper and they give more mana back. That's about it. The combined cost is the same.
Easy enough. Lord Dominic's regards. Bonus armor penetration has been increased to 45% from 40%, making the item still more appealing than the other whatever the hell it's called.
Mortal Reminder. It's both of the Last Whisper upgrades got upgraded to 45% bonus ARPED. They weren't being built hardly at all. Like, I mean, you saw them as fringe items. They're very, very niche because it's not like the insta buy Last Whisper used to be, which I know we covered during one of the preseason the podcast. There's too many P words. My bad.
Just make it a little more appealing for that third item buy, like you would normally build with Last Whisper.
Yeah, but all the marksmen don't do it anymore. They have too many other items that are way better.
Really good.
Like Essence Reaver building into Trinity Force or vice versa, or Essence Reaver into pick your BF sword item. Like, it's really, there's too many good things, and I understand that they're trying to make it more appealing, but it's like a fifth item at best, and it's if you got a bunch of armor that you need to deal with, or if there's a bunch of higher health targets than you, then Lord Dominic's looks pretty good. More reminder, why the shit would you ever buy it until, again, Grievous Wounds does something?
Yeah, I never built it. I'd build Lord Dominic's regards. Honestly, I was building it if I was super far ahead, and you just kind of like you're preparing just in case the game keeps going a little longer, or they had or to keep ahead because they had a Mundo on their team and we were still winning, but I didn't want that. I want to be able to shred through that Mundo the entire time. I didn't really find myself buying Lord Dominic's. I would look at that and go, I want a Bloodthirster now.
You're getting, the weird thing is you're getting so much, you're getting, what is it, 15% increased physical damage, I think it is,
yes.
When you're at Lord Dominic's, and it's against targets with 500 or more health than you. So, but those are already going to be people that build tanky. So it's like you get the Giant Slayer is the first part of that, where it gives it a 10%. It's like it doesn't feel like it deals that much extra damage whenever I've bought it. And I keep buying it to try it out, but I never notice it well enough to say, oh yeah, this is it. That might be because I'm playing Corki a lot, and it's only physical damage that it affects. So
You think?
I may take a dump on my own thought here, but maybe I need to try with Lucian some more.
Why aren't you playing Rageblade Corki?
Games are ending too quickly because I'm way too good.
Wait, he doesn't play Corki at all. No one heard that. This guy doesn't.
Yeah,
play
no,
Corki.
I definitely don't play Corki. don't ban guys, please.
Phantom Dancer now grants 5% flat movement speed. Unique passive Spectral Waltz movement speed bonus while within 500 units of an enemy champion you can see is reduced to 7% from 12%. So making this item even more or less appealing than it was previously. When you
it's more. It's definitely way more appealing.
Well, no,
Yeah.
you
get 5%.
oh wait, sorry, I read it the wrong way.
Whatever.
It goes to 12% if you're nearby somebody, but it gives you 5% flat no matter what.
There you go.
So
that's why. So it
that's
is a little
actually
more
way-
appealing.
Yeah, it's move speed immediately.
Out of combat. You
don't
get
have
out
to
of
worry
combat
about.
move speed, but then
More
you
flat
get
all the time.
Yeah.
12%'s pretty noticeable too, because there's not many things that get. I don't know if anything gives that high of a percent move speed in the game that's not named like Home Guard, which
I don't
hardly
even think
counts.
Old Zephyr did.
Yeah, because 12%. If you're talking 12%, like at 400, which I guess is kind of like a lot of that late game. What's that? That's going to be like 48 move speed. I'm not complaining about that. That's pretty significant. That's like a whole nother boots.
It's more than you get out of an enchantment. The flat enchantment's 20 move speed base.
Yeah. And that's what you get from the 5% on Phantom Dancer then. Like you're getting the enchantment essentially.
Is it fur?
by
Is it
itself.
fur? Is fur is 12%? Is that what it is?
Furor
Furor, sorry.
is the 12% on single target attack and
Right. Yep.
single target spells, I think too. Yeah. So you're getting that
Both of
much,
those-
but it's for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I
we
still
That's a
haven't
lot.
seen one buy this.
Those two
I don't-
stacked are a lot of movement speed while you're in combat, but yeah, you never really got that until you're already 6 items usually.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people buying Phantom Dancer anyways.
No.
But
It's because you don't need it. Oh, it's one of those items. What is it? You need attack speed items to be good to make Phantom Dancer really good. So, like Vayne and Twitch, who would use Blade of the Ruin King, for example. You need that item to be really good again to start seeing more Phantom Dancers. I think because of the power that Rapid Fire Cannon and Static Shiv give to any individual AD carry based on burst damage it overshines the amount of damage you would do through the sustained burst dance or Phantom Dancer burst dancer.
I think it
Yeah,
actually would be. I think it would be really good in a scenario where you're playing her. If there's a champion that's not named Yasuo that benefits a lot from attack speed, crit, and sticking on top of somebody, because you need to be in 500 units is not very long. Like that's outside of or inside of most carry ADC's attack ranges, and then it also gives you that dueling potential of the 12% less damage from the last champion that you dealt damage. Yeah, the last champion you hit deals 12% less damage to you. So I could see it being a pretty good dueling tool, but
Yeah, 500 units is too small. That's
but
probably the
I mean
problem
more of like
here.
the sticking power of a melee champion, not an AD carry is what I'm looking at. And is if it's somebody who can stick to somebody, then I could see it working. But there's not enough people who would benefit because they need more AD somewhere, and they wouldn't be tanky enough to duel that long.
If they
So,
bumped
I
this
don't
up
know.
to 550, I bet you just about every 80 carry would purchase it at that point because Vayne's range is 550, for example, and she would love the hell out of this item because she could kite.
So this is
that frame.
this is a lot more for self peel than it is for chasing.
It's either it's
A little bit of column
remains
A
to be
and
seen
B,
what it
but-
is. Yeah. It's not remains to be seen which one it's going to go for. But again, I don't think it's really been built yet, so I don't know who's it's popular on. I don't know if there's a items.gg site that we can go check out who's buying items.
Although
on.
if you're within 500 units of someone and you do get that close and you get this proc of the move speed, you're not going to lose that distance unless they have a big gap closer because that's a lot of move speed.
500 distance is less than a Vayne auto attack, though.
But if
yeah,
you
that's
are,
still
if you
a lot.
are that
If you're on top
close-
of somebody and you're
Yeah.
moving 12% faster,
Sure,
like, you have to walk away to lose that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and you get the 5% flat now. So that'll help you get in that range.
Maybe Trinity would actually benefit with it to stick on top of a target.
The thing is that Phantom Dancer was almost always better late game, but Shiv was so good in the early to mid game, and it helped you farm to get to bigger items.
yeah.
So if you could trade it out for the other one, that's what you would see a lot of times. If you wanted max power, you would trade out the Shiv when you're 6 items and defending
Right.
for for the Phantom Dancer because the additional crit that it gets at that point is worth way more than a proc, and they get.
I didn't realize they're only 200 gold apart from each other. That's actually kind of it's between Shiv and Phantom Dancer.
Tally just kind of killed the conversation right there, though. With that, is that you buy Static because it gives you more mid game than Phantom Dancer's ever going to give you, and then Phantom you swap into Phantom later just by the nature of having a proc. So
and now Shiv just got buffed too.
Yeah, speaking of Runon's Hurricane and not Runon's Hurricane, Rapid Fire Cannon is where I was going with that. Movement speed reduced 7% from 8%, give or take whatever you want the 1%. We won't talk too much about it. Bonus damage to minions on Static Shiv has been increased to 120% from 75%. If you recall a few patches ago, it got nerfed to champions but did the same amount of damage to minions. Now it does more damage to minions but the same amount to champions.
Yeah, I remember Serial trying to do math on that one.
It was
we were arguing the same point.
I've never heard better math in my entire life.
Yeah, it looks like they're taking away move speed from Rapid. They're adding move speed to Runon's, and then their Static Shiv's getting more damage to minions. I kind of think what they're doing is they're making Shiv better at what Shiv is supposed to do, which is help you clear. They're making Phantom Dancer better at what that's supposed to be good at, which is dueling, and the other two, whatever. I mean, Runon's is always going to be niche, and Rapid's good, but 1% nerf isn't a big deal.
Nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, let's talk about Sunfire Cape. Armor increased to 50 from 45. It's a small little.
It's a nice
little nice armor boost.
You didn't see that many people going Sunfire anymore because Dead Man's play was so good.
Dead Man's is so good.
Dead Man's is so good, and it arguably does more for what it is anyway. Way more.
I love Dead Man's because I build defensive, and instead of building like fully defensive like Randuin's like you used to, I just go right into Dead Man's because I'm like, well, I've got a Black Cleaver. I'm going in the Dead Man's. There's my armor.
I still want to do damage, but now I have all the health. Yeah, let's play this game.
Let's talk about warding totems, then we'll jump into masteries to round out this because I'm sure we could talk a lot about masteries.
You're gonna miss Death Stance?
Did I?
I think Death
Yeah, you
Stance
skipped
was
over it.
pretty
It was the very
big.
top.
Did I? Oh, well, let's talk
yeah.
about warding totems, and we'll go back up. I must have missed that because we were talking about the new Runic Echoes, and is it array above it?
Yeah,
right,
Yes.
Yeah, so the warding totem recharge time lowered to 180 from 180 to 90 seconds based on level, from 180 to 120 seconds. So it was 180 to 90 seconds. Or excuse me, it was 180 to 120 seconds, not 180 to 90 seconds, which I like this
Same
change.
early game. Same early game as a buff to the late game warding totem.
It needed it though, because isn't Blue Trinket on a 90-second cooldown right now?
Blue Trinket was bought all the time over this, yeah.
Yeah, and there was no reason to have your warding trinket because the cooldown was too long, even though you held 2 charges on it.
Yeah, they did do a small change on that where and this is pretty small, but originally it was Farsight Alteration, the blue ward was its cooldown was 50% of warding totem's cooldown. Whatever it would have been, used half it. That's Blue Trinket's cooldown. Now it's dropping to 33%. So you're not getting nearly as quick. Like you're actually having about the same level 18 cooldown on blue because it'll be about 66 seconds now. But it was 60. Like you're already getting a small nerf to Farsight Alteration, but it's not going to be nearly as usable early on that as everyone was seeing. You could just see pro players dropping blue wards everywhere and they'd stay forever and it was too good. So getting a buff to yellow, nerfing blue seems like a good move.
Well, and it's not even that the blue was so like you could use it from a much larger distance and still get a ward in a bush. So you didn't have to worry about, oh, hey, I should ward this, but I have to run up to do it. I can just do this from 3 times the distance I would have been able to, and I'm safe when I go to ward something. Oh no, they killed it. It'll be up again in no time. So
yeah, it was too free. It was
that's exactly what it was.
Distance, and so you either have a longer cooldown on that, or you get the warning totem, which is now a little bit more reward, and you have to face check a bush instead to do it.
Let's talk about Death Dance now, because we all know that Blue Trinket is overpowered, and the trinkets, hell, I could have a 30-minute conversation on my own to you guys about how warding has been a shit show this preseason, and Riot is slowly fixing it, thank God. Yeah, before I get there, just real quick, Tallansty, are you finding yourself buying Trekker's Knife?
On Champions, I don't really want Stalkers. I buy Trackers on, like, Gragas and the tank junglers. that you don't really want to auto attack a lot, because then skirmishers is kind of better on some of those. But like for Gragas and Zac, I'd get trackers. Yeah, new trackers.
Lee Sin, obviously, needs a trackers. I really like the trackers knife, because I did spend some time complaining there that the warding was very hard to get back, but then as soon as I started buying trackers knife, I realized that I could make up for some of the faults that my team had. Was that like Sightstone doesn't have many charges, so there couldn't be that. There's the same number of wards, but you couldn't get as many wards out in the map, and so you couldn't get your vision back. So buying the tracker's knife.
I was always the type of jungler that if I could, I'd buy a green ward and a pink on my back. So, I didn't really like the change, and then when they introduced that, I still buy it on most of the junglers I play, because you want the stalkers on a lot of them. But it's definitely a nice alternative for those like tank junglers that don't necessarily need any more catch up.
I wish you would have talked to Chira back when we could buy boards. This dude,
I don't know what you're talking about.
He doesn't know what warding is.
That's
It's
not
so
true
good.
at all.
He's literally never dropped a ward in his life.
That'd be incredible if somebody got to plat and I was like, wait, what are wards? How do you get them?
No, I've seen Chira drop wards for me. He just drops them for other people, though. He doesn't use them. He's just like, here, buddy, here's a ward. Have fun with it.
I usually use wards as a band-aid to pick people, like to help people who are dying.
Drop it on them.
Oh, you're not
attack
warding for yourself, so I'll do it for you, and then I'll do my own thing.
I'm too busy
Trackers is
training.
nice because you can get it really early, a lot earlier than you would be able to do like Sightstone, because a lot of those junglers I mentioned that are getting trackers used to go Sightstone, like Gragas and Nunu and whatnot. So you can get that on your first back and drop 3 wards in the enemy jungle.
Yeah.
For almost no cost.
I like to ward up my mid lane for my, to make it so my mid laner is safe a lot.
Well, if you know where their jungler is.
Yeah, right. And then it helps me out a lot too, because I can go drop a ward by race. I can go drop a ward over in one of the bushes in mid lane on the other side, and I can pretty much figure out where the jungler is at that point based on his ganking paths as well.
And between the Scuttle Crab, if you're intelligently warding spots in the river with Scuttle Crab and a well-placed ward between Crab and mid, you have the entire river on one side of the map warded out, so you'll know where people are.
Yeah, I talk about this, and now I have to go play mid lane. See, of course, I bring Tallansty on. I want to learn about jungle, and the guys are like, hey, you should go learn mid lane now. I love it. I love watching Cereal Box's faces. Oops, shit.
Well, I mean, it's like, you mean when we were talking about it in Slack?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't remember this happening except then.
I make up my own conversations in my head. With you guys, like I bring you guys in. I have little dolls of each of us, and we have conversations.
That's terrifying. That's not
I have a
okay.
lock of Chira's hair that is
I thought
one
about
of the
just turning
dolls'
off
heads.
I thought about turning off my camera right now, just to be like, "Yep, I'm done."
Bye, guys. Tallies.
Been a great
welcome to the most awkward episode of
the voodoo episode, New Year.
Voodoo Pornophobia.
That's
Hey,
all
Death Stance.
Death Stance.
Jesus.
It's only took 30 minutes to get to this.
Total cost
Buff.
increased 100 gold from 3,500 to 3,400 gold. Wait. Oh yeah, I read that right. I thought they screwed that up for a second. They
Bumped up the price by 100 gold.
Yeah.
But they made it more slot efficient.
Yes.
AD increased to 75 from 65, so you get 10 AD for 100 gold. Unique passive now heals for 15% of the damage dealt for 12%. So for 100 gold, you get 3% more damage dealt, or healing. Unique passive damage taken dealt as bleed effect increased to 15% from 12%. So yes, much more slot efficient for the times you get. You guys want to talk about it? Go for it.
I think it's just like Phantom Dancer. They're trying to make the niche items that weren't being built better for their roles, so they will start to get built. Like it's again a dueling item that allows you to stay alive by multiple ways of surviving damage longer and healing it up. And then the more you're staying alive, the more you're healing, so it keeps compounding on itself. I think it's a cool item. I really want to see it get used effectively first before I start buying it on I don't know who yet, but I like the idea of it.
Ribbon?
Yeah, there's other better items though. I think that's the problem when it comes down to Death's Dance. Is you look at the build path for it. It's Caulfield's Warhammer. It is a pickaxe, and it is a Vampiric Scepter. For those items, I could build Yumu's Ghostblade. I could build Black Cleaver. I can build Bloodthirster. I can go into Last Whisper. In some of those are just 1 or 2 items past, but each of those items generally are better at any point in game. At any point in the game.
Black Cleaver.
Yeah, that I would buy it. Like Black Cleaver gives you health and armor penetration and damage and extra move speed. That's more than you're getting out of this. Like, do I need that extra cooldown reduction at this point in the game? I would buy Death Dance. No. I say we remove the cooldown reduction and give it to someone else.
I'm trying to think of where that damage being redirected to a bleed effect would really help. That might be someone like Riven who can need an extra second or two to get a shield up to absorb some more of that bleed, because it pretty much makes any burst just elongated over time. But
I think that plus anyone who's staying a lot, like, is dealing damage consistently in a fight and staying alive for a while is going to benefit from it.
Or has a self-shield.
Well, that or is just like, yeah, for some reason Renekton came to mind a little bit. It's got to be doing a lot of physical damage too, because you're going to lose out on a lot of the passive of because you only heal for the physical damage you're dealing. So somebody who's doing a bunch of physical damage, staying alive in there for a while, but able to soak up some too. It's weird because taking like 15% damage reduction, which is a huge air quotes, is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's going to come to you over the next 3 seconds, but that delay is pretty significant. Like it could be.
Yeah.
That's
what I was trying to think of. 80 casters, because any physical damage and the AoE damages to a little bit less.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It kind of goes back to this Thunderlords thing, though, because a lot of these people are picking up Thunderlords right now, and you're trying to make Thunderlords better by getting all this extra AD and doing all this burst damage. So the fights aren't long because there's so much burst damage coming out through the masteries that we have. So Death Dance works better when I say prolonged, I mean maybe an extra second or two of a team fight, but 15% damage you're dealt over 3 seconds can be a lot that you are absorbing, but is that enough to kill the person who is destroying everybody in that 6 seconds that they're doing the damage takes with Thunderlords? I don't know.
They're going to hit a point. There's going to be a critical point. There's going to be a critical point where the item gets too good, like you can't ignore it. And this is the first, like, they're buffing it little by little, and they're doing that with a lot of these that aren't used. And it's eventually going to hit a point where you say, "Oh shit, it's so strong now. What happened? We didn't see this coming." And it's like, well, if you look at the last few cycles, maybe it's going to get to a point where it's, I don't know what it'd take. Maybe 85 AD, maybe 90, maybe more healing, more CDR. I don't know.
I think this item is worth taking and out there and trying on some of those people that are doing a lot of trading in the lanes. But the cost is still kind of a hindrance when you're not getting
it's high.
You're not getting anything extra out of it. You're not getting any wave clear. You're not getting any extra armor or health. So that it's
actually,
it's hard to buy.
How much lifesteal does Bloodthirster give you?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's got to be around like the 15 to 20 range. 20% lifesteal. So let's say, like, without the shield, like you're trading off a shield that you can build up on Bloodthirster for the bleed effect, and you're trading off 5% of lifesteal for. You're trading off 20% lifesteal for 15% effective lifesteal on all physical damage.
So that counts spells. That's pretty big, though.
It counts spells, so it might actually be more healing, plus 10% CDR, same AD. That actually, like, I think people are going to be surprised once it starts becoming popular and you say, "Oh, I don't know if it's at that point yet," but this PBE cycle might be where it could kind of replace Bloodthirster a little bit as the lifesteal item.
So it just becomes the lifesteal item for AD casters.
Yeah. Even maybe marksmen that use a lot of spells.
Yeah, so like you're gonna see, let's just say Kha'Zix jumps back into the mix. He goes out and does a bunch of burst damage, and then oh no, he took a quarter of his health and damage, and it's immediately back because it's doing damage over time and healing, which is kind of nasty. But
yeah, I actually want to try that.
Is it Tallansty?
This would be Tallansty on Urgot.
Oh man.
Oh shit, that's like my season 1 champ. I'm gonna go break him back out. That actually would be kind of fun to try out.
Yeah, 20% for every of your Q, and if you land an E, just 3 Qs, that's 75% of his health back, probably.
I'm gonna try that.
And
I need mana issues, but mana. Okay.
Bloodthirster is a good comparison though, Serial, because like Bloodthirster, you also buy for the passive of getting that shield to reduce burst, and this reduces burst by making it go over time, 15% of it. So you're right, it might be more of a replacement for those that want Bloodthirster than, say, Black Cleaver. Because Black Cleaver had the shred and the move speed, which a lot of melees wanted.
Yeah, I I like the idea of it, and I need to try it out. Like I probably should go on PBE and try it out because I think the live version is not strong enough. I think this version is the one that might be.
What about that on like a Jace?
Yeah,
Honestly,
CDR casters.
The more I think about this item almost becomes sort of how Kha'Zix's old ultimate used to work, in that when you pop it, you're taking a little bit less damage. Instead of taking less damage, you go in and do damage. You have a percentage of that incoming damage turned into a heal or a dot. But if you're doing damage to somebody, you're turning that into a heal. So hopefully you're outputting more damage. Yeah. So it's you're still mitigating a lot of that damage. It just, instead of being able to build up a shield to I guess deal with the damage while it's coming in, this is more like, okay, I'm going in, I need to keep doing damage, and this will keep making me live.
Yeah, like that might be like even on like a Varus CDR, a big hunk of damage, and then if you do land a snipe, you get to go back
a lot
into
of
the fight.
health back. Yeah,
it's really hard.
All right, guys, we need to each make a highlight reel of Death's Dance plays for next week, and just broadcast that over top of Pone's
We'll just all play
for
one game of a champion.
I'm gonna tell you
I
guys
want it because it's a cool item.
I'm going to tell you guys about next week that we will likely be recording 3 podcasts next week, assuming the patch comes out, because we have a guest on Monday and we have a Patreon on Wednesday, assuming he gets back to me. So if the patch notes come out, likely we will be recording on a Tuesday or Thursday as well to get those patch notes out, because Tally, you're in that patch note discussion, by the way. We're going to need you.
We also have to cover the national championship game coverage. Like, that's pretty important to at least one member on this podcast. So
now that member can go off and fuck himself.
You're gonna jinx it, Serial.
I'm gonna be way too drunk Monday to be on the podcast. Don't worry, guys.
No, it's only the shock. We're only talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Fuck that.
One of my friends is doing that though. I'm excited about that. Yeah, Cheers on there. What the hell?
Yeah, how
man
dare you?
Let's actually
go shock and cheer up.
Yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that. I know I kind of thrown that out of here nowhere, but the PBE stuff, I have a feeling will probably drop next week, because we haven't heard anything today, and they usually drop on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So, we'll be recording again. Girlfriend's not gonna be so, or fiance not gonna be so happy about that. But hey, shit's gotta be done. All right, well, let's talk about Rift Herald, because Ciro, you had a question about Rift Herald earlier, and I think I answered it, but I want to make sure I answered it correctly.
You did. I also looked at the context where it was the change. The change is just that. So some people might not be aware that the epic monsters have levels associated with them, and they can level up and get stronger over time, which is why obviously level 2. If you said like a level 18 person comes in and fights bear or dragon at the beginning of its spawn, it would destroy it, but they do level up over time and get stronger. Rift Herald started at level 2, now starts at level 6, so it's harder to kill, but they lowered its base damage from by 10, and that apparently, according to the contextual people on Twitter, was saying that the base damage change actually does hurt its damage a good bit, but I think makes it take longer to kill.
Then it's going to be worthless. If it takes longer to kill, then no one's going to ever touch it.
Well, how much longer? If it takes 5 seconds longer, that doesn't mean shit.
5 seconds is quite a bit, though, when it comes to a lot of games.
Yeah, but you weren't taking it before level 6 anyway.
Right.
Were you? I mean,
No.
You need your ultimate. You need a Moo ult to lock it down, and you can.
I hate you. Get out.
You were only taking it pre-level 6 if you had 3 full life people, other than it was doing too much damage to you.
You were taking it level 6 if the game was going very, very poorly for the enemy team.
Yeah.
I'm thinking pretty much besides really, really fringe cases, this is going to be making it a lot easier to take.
Easier, just not as much. It just takes longer. Yeah.
It doesn't make me want to take it. If it makes it take longer, it doesn't make me want to take it, because it always feels like it takes longer.
But
anyway
again,
to take it.
You do the same thing with Dragon.
I'm not taking Dragon, though. I'm ignoring Dragon.
Wait, why would it take
longer? CLG? TSM?
No, there's no reason to take Dragon right now. There's just get objectives. Fuck Dragon. Take towers.
Tally, the reason it would take longer is that I think at level 6, like it's saying since it spawns at level 6, it's going to have a higher health. Like, it's not changing the base health, but it's changing the level it spawns at. So imagine if you
weren't taking it before level 6 generally anyway. So
no. Rift Herald itself spawns at let's say a character level of
level
6.
Is level 6.
Like it's not when somebody hits level 6. It's Rift Herald itself because like it starts at a higher level.
I understand that, but it's not going to keep going up. It's going to stay with your champion, right? It's going to stay at 6, and then when people start getting up to level 7 or 8, it's going to go with that.
I would think that's what it would do.
Because it's based on.
That's why I
every
don't
other
understand this.
Every
argument.
other monster is based on like the average level
of all the players in the game.
Of all the players in the game.
Oh, okay.
Right. So yes, it's going to spawn, and it's going to be harder to kill as soon as it spawns. But the aggregate
by the time you
of
get
all the levels on the team, it doesn't matter because by the time you get to killing it, you're at that level anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're level 4, it's going to be more difficult to take. It pops up and you're fighting something.
Anyway, yeah.
That's exactly right. It's a moot point. It won't matter.
Like I said, except for maybe the really fringe cases where you were trying to take it at level 4 and you're like, wow, this is difficult. But I think for the most part, it's going to be easier to take because you're not going to get murdered. And
even if we say it added, like, let's say it takes 5 more seconds to get or whatever, like, you're going to throw away an advantage over the enemy team over 5 seconds?
Dude,
yeah.
5 seconds.
Is that the deal breaker?
300 HP because it does less damage now?
Yeah, I regardless, this is still going to be something that should die if you want to get a slight advantage over the enemy team or any like it's still an advantage that you should take when you have the opportunity to take. Otherwise, you're just leaving something on the table that could be benefiting you otherwise.
It's one of those items just like, one of those monsters just like Dragon, where you ignore it until you have the perfect opportunity to take it.
You get to kill top lane and whatnot.
And again, that's something that also differentiates X player from Y player, taking advantage of getting as many of those objectives. It's okay, so it's a little bit more difficult to get. Does that change things into, oh, all right, so we want to get a level 1 like we'll get Dragon, like first Dragon sooner than we try and go for Rift Herald. And even still, your objective choice might go from one to the other, but you're still going to be looking for objectives. Like ultimately, you're still going to be wanting to build up advantages.
I think it's smart the way they did it to make it easier, but yet you can't like sneak it with someone really early. If you reduce the damage and you kept it at level 1 when you were level 1 and whatnot, it might be able to cheese it really early with Elise tanking and getting the backstab and whatnot or something.
I'm not seeing numbers straight off, but the LoL wiki is giving me numbers for Dragon and Baron and just their minute-based level ups, whereas I'm not seeing anything for Rift Herald. I'm wondering if it just means that it doesn't actually change because it despawns at 19 minutes. But it despawns. Like fair. It's yeah. It's I don't know. I'm trying to find any stats on it. I'm trying to I'd like to see those numbers, but I haven't been able to find anything yet. Yeah. Hey, we talked about masteries.
I can tell you how much it has at level 6 real quick.
All right, we'll wait. We'll play the Jeopardy music right now while we wait.
Well, I'm gonna have the PBE open, but it'll take a second.
Oh, it's gonna take too damn long. We can't wait that long. I heard the champ select.
Yeah, we get locked in.
That's funny.
I heard the chink as he locked in the champion. Nah, we'll reach back around to it. Like I said,
when we know what it is, actually, that'll be easy.
Yeah, I think this is all PBE stuff, so we'll try to have it a little bit more concrete as it comes around because crossing our fingers, patches for us in 2016 should be more concrete as it comes to a podcast because we should be able to get our information around and together to bring you better patch notes in 2016, so that'll be great. And I think that's pretty much going to wrap up for PBE discussion. We didn't make it to Masteries, but Masteries is probably a solid 30 minutes of discussion in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure we have the final numbers in front of us because those are more important than I think than a lot of those jungle items because those jungle items likely won't change. That pretty much solidifies it. So next week, I would expect 3 podcasts out of us. I don't know when I'll release the third one, but it might just be the same day that I release the Patreon episode, and you can cherry pick what episodes you pick, to listen to, or you can listen to all 3. I don't care, whatever you want to do. Thanks for supporting us, Tallansty. Thanks for coming on this week. You've been awesome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Full of great knowledge. I love it.
Can I give a cool little shout out real quick?
No, fuck you. Guys, that's it. No, go ahead.
So I was and am the coach of Florida State's collegiate team. Now I do more analyst stuff, and I've been coaching the esports collegiate scene for a while, and now they're down to the top 32 teams in that. So if you want to, you could just Google esport or LOL esports collegiate, and they have all that stuff up there. My school, FSU's in the top 32, and they're going to be having that. There's lots of tuition money on the line for those kids, and there's going to be lots of really cool games, and I think they're all being broadcast and whatnot. So there'll be some cool stuff if you're into seeing some college kids playing League for money.
Yeah, go check out the collegiate teams. We did the all mid invitational, and those guys are ramping up for this 2016 as well, and they're the collegiate team. We really like to support the collegiate league scene because there's not a lot of people out there doing it, and I think a lot of those guys deserve recognition because those are your up and coming. They
practice a lot.
Those are your up and coming pro players.
Yeah.
They need your support. So watch the collegiate. They may not be as good, as fun, or as popular as the professional players, but give the guys a chance, man, because you'll probably see those names in the LCS one day, right? That's the same thing we say about. That's why people like college football so much. You're going to see one or two of those names up in the pros eventually. So cherry pick people, find them, follow them, support them, root them on, help Tallansty and his boys make it to the end. Guys, that is episode number 323 of the Trinity Force podcast. Please go to check out our sponsors at GameFly. You can find the link inside the podcast description. That is it for this week, guys. We will see you on Monday with LeShock from the D&D RPG podcast.
Peace. RPG. Yep.